Coming up tonight on the news at 6. A big day at the Capitol as Greg Gianforte is sworn in as Montana's 25th governor, and lawmakers return to start the 67th legislative session. Plus, the last surviving member of the Camp Remini War Dog and Reception Center celebrates his 100th birthday.
From Montana's news leader, this is MTN News at 6.
Good evening. Welcome to the news at 6. I'm Marian Davidson. Thanks for joining us. Montana's 25th governor promised a new way of doing business in Helena. Greg Gianforte and other statewide officials started their terms in office today. MTN's Jonathan Ambarian details those swearing-in ceremonies.
On Monday, Governor Greg Gianforte and Lieutenant Governor Kristen Juris were sworn in a small ceremony at the Montana State Capitol. There were no large crowds as a typical inauguration would have. Gianforte said it was important that this event changed, as so many others during COVID-19 have had to.
Montanans have had to make sacrifices and do things differently. You've had to change how you celebrate holidays, scaled down wedding ceremonies, and postponed many of your long-awaited plans. This inauguration ceremony is no different.
He praised first responders, healthcare workers, and others who've stepped up during the pandemic, and promised to lead a comeback from COVID and the economic devastation that accompanied it.
I am confident that with vaccines and increased testing, we will get a better handle on our response to COVID-19. I am confident that our economy will rebound. I am confident Montanans will get back to work in good-paying jobs.
Gianforte is Montana's first Republican governor in 16 years. He said he wants to take the state on a new course, focusing on economic growth and a more responsive government. He vowed to work with people across the political spectrum to serve the state. 4 other statewide officials were sworn in Monday. The first was Attorney General Austin Knudsen, who vowed to make the Department of Justice more efficient and focus on prosecuting crime, particularly involving drugs.
I know how much small town in rural Montana can benefit from a little extra help from the AG's office. The Attorney General's office can and must work better for the people of the state.
Also sworn in Monday were Secretary of State Christy Jacobson, State Auditor Troy Downing, and the only official starting a second term, Superintendent of Public Instruction Elsie Arnson. Those statewide offices had already been in Republican hands. Gianforte's victory gives the party all 5 seats on Montana's land board. In Helena, Jonathan Ambarian, MTN News.
Montana's 2021 legislature started today at the state capitol, with most lawmakers showing up in person for the proceedings. In the House, only a few members chose to participate remotely. Democratic members wore face masks, but most Republicans did not. In the Senate, however, about half of minority Democrats took part via Zoom from remote locations. Republicans have big majorities at the 2021 session and say they have a mandate from voters. And Democrats say they are ready to be part of the discussion. House Speaker Wiley Galt also says they want the session conducted safely.
It is my priority to ensure a safe and healthy working environment for all in the Capitol building this session. That includes virtual participation for legislators and constituents.
Our caucus is ready to build on our investment in infrastructure, to protect our gains and access to health care, and to make sure that we're investing in public education.
Even with the large majority, conservatives lost one of their first moves on the House floor. They tried to impose a set of temporary House rules which they said would give Republican leadership a clear hand to enact the will of the voters. But that move failed on a 42-58 vote, with 25 Republicans joining all 33 House Democrats to defeat it. All right, now it's time for a look at that forecast with Chief Meteorologist Curtis Grevnitz.
Well, I know what you're thinking, Marion. I know what a lot of you are thinking. Where did you get that tie? Yes, the tie. Perhaps some of you are familiar with Alexi Aguayo. He's a reporter here, and this is from his grandmother for me. It's got all these little snowmen on there. So, right, that's what you were thinking. That's what everybody was thinking at home. Thank you to Alexi's grandmother for the awesome snowman tie from places all around the world. Speaking of what's going on around, we've got a winter weather advisory for some areas in southwestern Montana, including around the glacier area, and a High wind watch. How about those winds over the course of the weekend? We'll take a closer look at some of the gusts, but a little wintry weather and a little wind coming through tonight into tomorrow. It's mainly a nocturnal storm. It will get gusty again as far as the wind goes, and who'd like to see a couple inches of some snow? We'll let you know when we may get a light accumulation. That's coming up.
Taking a look at Montana's COVID-19 situation, COVID-19 case numbers continue to drop in the state, but 11 more deaths were reported since last night, including 2 in Lewis and Clark County. That brings the statewide death total to 1,019. Right now, there are 5,000 active cases. Now, active hospitalizations also continue to fall and are below 200. MTN uses a combination of state and local data to provide you with the most up-to-date numbers regarding COVID-19 in our state. And because of that, our numbers may differ from the state. Students will be back on campus at the University of Providence next week for the spring semester. Now, after an all-remote fall semester, MTN's Coulter Anstad takes a look at how the university will bring students back.
The University of Providence was quiet Monday, save for the sound of nearby traffic. But come January 11th, it will be filled with the sounds of some of the university's roughly 400 students trying to adjust to a new version of on-campus learning.
One of the pieces of making sure that we were prepared for spring was making sure that we had sufficient quarantine and isolation spaces.
Providence, Socorro, and St. Rita Hall will be used for quarantine and isolation, with students likely being required to quarantine or isolate on campus. The university's Enrollment Management Vice President, Mackenzie Stick, says the university will follow CDC guidelines.
We do check in with them frequently, just to make sure that they're doing okay, that mentally, emotionally.
As KRTV has reported, COVID testing is also part of the university's return to campus plan. Alluvian will offer testing on campus. Students, faculty, and staff will have to test negative for the virus before they can attend class in person.
I can assure you that we will be testing students, faculty and staff frequently and ongoing throughout the semester.
Desks have been spaced out in classrooms, and extra cleaning is also being done regularly to keep campus and ultimately the community as safe and healthy as possible. In Great Falls, Coulter Anstad, MTN News.
Still ahead on the news at 6, we will tell you about the new technology just installed at the Montana Learning Center that helped capture a fireball over Canyon Ferry this weekend.
Now with Chief Meteorologist Curtis Grevenens.
All right, welcome back to the news at 6. Thanks so much for spending some time with us this evening. And thanks to some new AI technology, the Montana Learning Center was able to capture an illuminating cosmic phenomena last week. MTN's Jnauary reports.
On Tuesday, December 29th, the sky above Canyon Ferry lit up as a fireball streaked across the night sky. The event was captured by the Montana Learning Center thanks to some new meteor tracking technology they have. Executive Director Ryan Hanaho says he's counting his lucky stars that they were able to catch it.
We just set up the camera system and focused the cameras on the night of the 29th. And it just so happened about 5 or 6 hours later, we captured that fireball. So that was beginner's luck, as they call it.
The meteor detection system is believed to be the first of its kind in the state, with 7 cameras pointed in all directions. Fireballs are essentially larger shooting stars burning up when they hit the Earth's atmosphere.
And the one that we detected the other night was, if you would take a look at the full moon at the nighttime sky, this was at least half as bright or brighter than the full moon itself.
According to the American Meteor Society, fireballs aren't all that rare, with thousands happening each day. However, the vast majority occur over the oceans, uninhabited regions, or are masked by daylight and never go noticed.
What's so cool about meteorites is they're literally, our history. This rock is the oldest rock I'll ever hold, and it's about 4.5 billion years old.
Hanaho would like to see other systems installed across Montana to catch more from the night sky. Seeing a shooting star, let alone a fireball, is special. You had to be looking at exactly the right place at exactly the right time, or else you'd miss it. Hopefully the new technology at the Montana Learning Center will be able to capture more of those moments and share them with all. Reporting from Canyon Ferry, John Riley, MTN News.
Well, goodness gracious, great balls of fire.
Exactly.
Someone had to say it.
Well, you got that one in. And Mr. Hanaho and I, both not strangers to fireball. Here's a look at the wind gusts here over the course of the weekend. Almost 100 miles per hour around the East Glacier area. East Glacier up to 86. Helena, 68 miles per hour. 67 mile per hour wind gust in Great Falls. I'll have more on the full forecast plus weather-wise. That's coming up next.
Weather starts now with Chief Meteorologist Curtis Grevenens.
All right, welcome back, everybody. If I had a nickel for every time I've been asked, where's winter recently, I'd have $3.11. Yeah. In this week's Weatherwise, while winter has been virtually absent so far, history suggests that will not be the case all season long. What a winter so far. Not. Above average temperatures and a dearth of snow has left a lot of Montana and the western United States wondering, where is winter? Early predictions of this winter were of cold and a lot of snow, mainly because of La Nina conditions in the Pacific. There are La Nina conditions, strong La Nina conditions to boot. However, a stronger entity in the Pacific that was not anticipated has been the driving force in this so-called winter thus far, the Pacific Decadal Oscillation. The Pacific Decadal Oscillation is typically a decade-long trend of pressure anomaly over the northern Pacific. This feature pretty much acts like El Nino and La Nina's daddy, dominating that pattern. And that's exactly what is happening now. Current Pacific Decadal Oscillation conditions are going against the decade-long trend. With stronger low pressure persisting over the Pacific, that has left much of the western United States under anticyclonic flow, or more high pressure than normal. High pressure usually results in mild and quiet weather. This setup has persisted for most of December and now into the new year. But some long-range forecast models have hinted at this pattern changing later in January. And do not forget your history. Exactly 2 years ago, winter seemingly was absent in Montana until the pattern flipped late in January. February and March of 2019 would go on to become some of the coldest and snowiest months ever in Montana's history. And now, you're a little more weather-wise. Yeah, I remember that winter. It was very quiet and dry in January, and then all of a sudden, boom, it hit, and it does look like some changes are headed our way for later this month. Here's a live look at Great Falls, 42 degrees, south winds up to 40 miles per hour. It's a little better than 67 miles per hour. What happened over the weekend? And Helena, what a windy day yesterday, currently 42, and it's nice to have a wind of only 6 miles per hour. Temperatures statewide in the 30s and the 40s. Certainly, Arctic air has been absent thus far. That's going to change though as we get towards the latter half of January. There you can see the wind speeds pretty strong around Lewistown. Great Falls, strongest wind right now in the state. Well, we've got a few advisories and a watch to talk about. A winter weather advisory, and this looks like it's in effect for Helena, not for the Helena Valley. The higher elevations, including McDonald Pass, may be up there around Jefferson City, up over the Boulder Pass area into Boulder itself. Inch or two, maybe 5 inches into the higher terrain. The glacier area east and west under a winter weather advisory for snow and blowing snow, accumulating up to about 5 inches. And yes, a high wind watch here for the Rocky Mountain front. This for Tuesday night into Wednesday, but at least it's not the entire state under a high wind watch like we were over the course of the weekend here. But on the radar, there you can see some of that activity, and most of it up on the Continental Divide, out there around Lincoln, west of the Divide here as well. Not so much in Helena right now, but I think through the overnight hours we'll likely see a burst of some rain and snow coming through with a front that is currently moving through eastern Washington and northern parts of Idaho here. Elsewhere around the country, fairly quiet with just a little stripe of some snow moving through the western Great Lakes into the Midwest here. So, hold on one second. This basket is very, very convenient. There we go. Let's take a look at what's going on in Montana here tonight. Again, through about 11, 12, 1 o'clock in the morning, there will be a little front going through that will provide a burst of some rain, possibly some flakes of snow in the lower elevations as well. Could accumulate a quick inch or two in the lower elevations, maybe 2 to 3 inches into the higher terrain. There goes that front, though, through north central and northeast Montana through the overnight hours. Couple of rain showers, maybe a little ice where you see that shade of pink. But quickly through the morning hours, we'll clear out the precipitation. We'll have mostly sunny skies by the afternoon, and that wind will come back for just about everybody. Mostly sunny through Tuesday afternoon, looking pretty nice. And then heading into Wednesday, a fairly quiet day before the next system comes in on Thursday. It's a mostly sunny start, some clouds and some snow increasing through western Montana late in the day here. So snowfall amounts tonight into tomorrow, mainly in the higher terrain of southwestern Montana. And again, around the Helena area, maybe a quick little burst of an accumulation through the overnight hours. So then we have a little chance at some snow on Thursday as well. Here's the forecast for tonight. Windy, mild once again. Average high temperatures are colder than these numbers right here. A couple little mixed rain and snow showers through central Montana and also around Helena as well. Here's the forecast for tomorrow. The system moving out, the wind and the sunshine increasing through the morning hours into the afternoon. Certainly not a cold day again. Highs in the 30s and the 40s. Wednesday, fairly quiet and mild. Those temperatures up near 50 once again for some locations. Thursday, though, a little more widespread light snow. Maybe an inch or two in the lower elevations east of the Continental Divide. And then heading into Friday, in between storm systems, looking pretty nice, not very windy either. Here's the 7-day forecast for Helena. So about 45 for the high tomorrow. Very windy day once again. A little light snow Thursday. How about the weekend? Looking pretty nice. Partly cloudy skies. Highs in the 30s. Not a lot of wind. And for Great Falls, windy tonight and tomorrow. Windy on Wednesday as well. Thursday, we've got a little bit of snow coming through.
All right, thanks, Curtis. Coming up, a breakdown of President Donald Trump's call with the Georgia Secretary of State just days before election results are to be certified in Washington.
From Montana's news leader, you're watching MTN News at 6.
Welcome back to the news at 6. President Donald Trump's extraordinary phone call pressuring Georgia's Secretary of State is heightening the drama 2 days before Congress meets to certify the final results of the 2020 election. Alice Barr is in Washington with the latest.
Harsh backlash today over an hour-long phone call revealing President Trump put unprecedented pressure on Georgia elections officials to overturn his certified loss to Joe Biden.
I just want to find 11,780 votes, which is one more than we have, because we won the state.
In the leaked recording, the president cites debunked conspiracy theories, threatens legal consequences, and repeatedly pushes Republican Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger to announce he's reversing the results.
And there's nothing wrong with saying that, that you've recalculated.
Raffensperger, who oversaw 2 exhaustive statewide recounts, responds to the president's disproven claims of fraud.
Well, Mr. President, the challenge that you have is the data you have is wrong.
Raffensperger said the call could warrant an investigation into possible conflicts of interest. A pair of House Democrats now asking the FBI to look into the call.
I think you have evidence of a federal crime. I think you have stronger evidence of a state crime.
It comes as President Trump and President-elect Biden are both campaigning in Georgia today, ahead of tomorrow's critical runoff elections that determine control of the Senate. And in the Senate, at least a dozen Republicans, all Trump loyalists, now plan to vote Wednesday to reject Biden's Electoral College win, demanding a commission to audit the election. They won't be able to change the results because enough Republicans have said they will vote to certify Biden's victory. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
All right, and we'll wrap things up here on the news at 6 when we come back.
Montana's news leader. You're watching MTN News at 6.
Welcome back. A Helena World War II veteran and founder of Race to the Sky sled dog race is celebrating his 100th birthday today. Dave Armstrong came to Montana in 1943 in a train car full of sled dogs bound for Camp Remini. The soldiers of Camp Remini trained the sled dogs to take part in ground operations in Nazi-controlled parts of Europe. The dog teams ended up being used to rescue downed pilots and planes in winter conditions. In 1986, the retired Armstrong helped found Montana's Governor's Cup sled dog race, which became the Race to the Sky. Armstrong competed in the race into his 80s. All right, and that does it for the news at 6. We'll be back here tonight at 10 with your latest local headlines and, of course, another look at that weather. We'll see you then.